Hello everyone. In the last video, we had discussed about introduction to the Internet of Things. We had also seen the importance of the Internet and Internet of Things. We have seen that the IoT is nothing but a technology that allows to collect the data and exchange the data within the device that are connected to the network. Now, in this video, we are going to discuss some important characteristics of the Internet of Things. The first important characteristics is unique ID or unique identity. We had seen that in IoT world there are millions of the devices that are connected to the internet that collects the data from their environment and exchange with other. Hence, it is necessary to identify each and every devices separately. For this purpose, each and every devices should have their own unique identity or their own unique identity number, such as Internet Protocol address or IP address. Now let us take an example of human being. Each human being have their separate identity number. In our India, this identity number is called as UID number or Aadhaar number. One can identify based on their UID number. Suppose I want to communicate with my some friend, then I dial their phone number. So this phone number is also unique for person to person or mobile phone to mobile phone. This unique identity number helps to avoid the conflict between the data that being exchanged between the different devices in the network. The unique identity helps to access or communicate individual devices within the IoT world. This unique identity of the devices allows to avoid conflict between the data that being shared between the different devices within the network. Now, next important characteristics is dynamic in nature. That means the IoT devices must have dynamic in nature. The status of IoT devices is not static. For example, as we know, there are millions of the devices in the IoT world, but at a time all the devices might not in active mode. Some of them in sleep mode, some of them in active mode, based on their working environment condition. By default, the IoT devices is in dynamic in nature because the environment condition is also dynamic. So, based on that environment condition, IoT devices may be in active state or in a sleep mode. That means the state of the IoT devices is also dynamic in nature. For example, sleeping and waking up, connected or disconnected, as well as the context of the devices including the location and the speed. Moreover, the number of the devices can change dynamically. That means presently how many devices are connected to the network is depend upon the individual devices and their environment condition. Next important characteristics is self-adapting. Self-adapting. IoT devices must have self-adapting in nature. Now what is mean by self-adapting? That means the IoT devices adapt themselves with the changing context and takes action based on their operating conditions for their censored environment. That means the IoT devices may adapt themselves based on their working situation. Now let us take an example of CCTV cameras or surveillance system. Now surveillance system consists number of CCTV cameras. Now these CCTV cameras are primarily installed for surveillance purpose or to identify some object like intruder or to identify the number from the number plate of the vehicle and many more purposes. So based on their environment condition or based on the present situation, the CCTV camera can adapt themselves so that they can effectively process their task. The CCTV cameras monitor the light intensity continuously. In case of sufficient light, they are in normal mode. If light intensity goes below a specific threshold level, they automatically switch themselves in a night mode. That means they adapt themselves according to their working condition. Now next important characteristics is self-configurable. That is, IoT devices should have self-configuring capacity. Now what is mean by self-configuring capacity? As we know, in the IoT world there are millions of IoT devices. Now the number of IoT devices have a different hardware and software platform. For example, some is based on the Android platform, some based on the Symbian platform, some of them use ARM processor, AVR, Arduino, etc. That means the hardware and software platform is different. So to provide a specific functionality or to complete a specific task, they must allow a large number of devices to work together by self-configuring themselves according to the other devices in the network. Okay, so they must support a number of communication protocol to communicate with other devices and also with the infrastructure. This self-configuring capacity helps the IoT world to work smoothly. Now next important characteristics of IoT is integrated in network. That means IoT devices should be integrated into some information network so that they can allow them to communicate and exchange the data with other devices and the system. For example, weather monitoring system. We had seen in the last video the example of weather monitoring system. The weather monitoring system is located all over the world. Each weather monitoring system might have a different hardware and software platform, but as we know that they have a self-configuring capacity. Now all the weather monitoring system should be connected in the network so that any one of them can communicate or exchange the data with other node. So this is the some characteristics of the IoT. Now let us see some advantages of the IoT. The first important advantages of the IoT is access information. That means we can access the data and information from anywhere in the world from our location in real time. This possible because of the networked device. We can access any information sitting any part of the globe. That makes the IoT system very convenient for us. For example, we can access the information related to our home, that is the status of the washing machine, security system installed in our home, etc. Next is communication. IoT devices allows for better communication is possible over a network or interconnected devices, making the communication of the devices more transparent, which reduce inefficiency. Processes where machines have to communicate with each other are made more efficient and produce better, faster result. The perfect example of this is machinery at a manufacturing or production plant, where they can continuously communicate or synchronize the status of each other so that they can produce a better product with efficient time. Next advantages of the IoT is cost effective. As mentioned in the point above, communication between electronic devices is made easier because of the IoT. This helps us in daily tasks. Transferring the data packets over a connected network, transferring a data packet over a connected network save time as well as money. The same data that would take a longer time to transfer can now be done much faster. This is achieved due to the IoT world. Next advantages is automation. Automation is the need of our day-to-day life. IoT reduces the human intervention and increase the efficiency of the service. Automation allows to manage everyday tasks without human interaction. Automating tasks in a industry or in medical sector helps to boost the quality of the services and reduce the level of human interaction. So these are the some advantages of the IoT devices, such as access information in real time, communication is much easier and faster, it makes the system cost effective, and automation allows to reduce human interaction within the system. Now let us see some challenges or some disadvantages in case of IoT system. First challenges is privacy and security. There is a huge risk to leak a data which are confidential when sent over the network. In today's technological world, each and every devices that an individual uses is connected via the internet. We know that each and every smartphone is connected over the network. We are chatting with our friends, we can communicate with each other through video callings. Our bank information is on the same devices, so our confidential data is on our smartphone. This increases the risk of any leakage of the data that might be important. This is the major drawback of sharing information, as confidential information might not be safe, and cloud can be hacked by a third party easily. आपण नेटवर सर्फिंग करत असतो, आपण जे काय सर्फ करत असतो त्याच्याशी रिलेटेड आपल्याला ॲडव्हर्टाईज पण दिसतात बघा. दॅट मीन्स अवर प्रायव्हसी is major concern in the IoT world. By using the smartphone or laptop, we can surf on the internet. Let us take an example that I have searched one product like a webcam or a mobile phone. Okay, now next time I visit the website, the advertisement related to our previous search is being displayed. That means our privacy and the security is major concern in the IoT world. Also, the IoT device and the system is complex in nature. A single loophole can affect the entire system. This is by far the most complicated aspect of the Internet of Things that can be themselves affected. Now, next major concern about the IoT is that lesser job. We have seen that IoT world have advantages that automation. It makes most of the things automated. Now, with every task being automated, the need for human labor will reduce tremendously. This will have a direct impact on the employability. As we go further in the future of the IoT, the new recruitment of the human beings will be the less. Next is dependability. With more automation in our day-to-day life, we are using IoT devices for different purposes, that we are used of this technology. There is no doubt that technology is dominant in our life and reflecting the human's dependability on the technology. Suppose there is some malfunction in the IoT devices, then there is a high chance of the every related devices getting corrupted. So suppose the system is breakdown, then it is difficult for us to cope up with this.